Hi, this is Ace Frehley. I just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you're watching Loudwire.
In the late 1970s, you came up with the idea of building a headset which would project a laser beam from your right eye. But the idea was scrapped because it was thought that it could cause you eye damage and eye damage to the fans.
False.
Fiction.
I believe that was Paul. Paul was gonna have a laser coming out of his eye. I was gonna have the laser coming out of my guitar and blow things up in the light truss. And because of what happened with Blue Oyster Cult, they blinded somebody in concert. All of a sudden, all these regulations came down really heavy on using lasers live. So they had routed out a channel through my guitar neck for the fiber optic for the laser. So we just pulled that out. We ran wires through it, and I ended up connecting rockets. So it went from a laser to shooting rockets, and I think the rockets were a better effect.
That's pretty cool. After Peter Criss left in 1980, you found yourself being constantly outvoted 2-1 on major band decisions.
True.
What kind of decisions were these, really?
Everything from A to Z. You know, Paul and Gene are workaholics, and, you know, I like to take more time off and relax. I mean, I'm going to be honest, folks. I'm a little lazy. I'm going to admit it, but it's okay, because when I do create, it's genius. But talking about when Peter left the group, you know, we were looking for a new drummer, and here's a fact, and you can insert it into the next Wikipedia time you go in there to edit, that Anton Fig was a member of KISS for one day, the drummer from the David Letterman show. And this is how it transpired. We were looking to audition drummers, you know. When we did that, we auditioned about a dozen drummers, and Eric Carr was one of them, and we all know the history behind Eric Carr.
Sure.
But prior to that happening, I called up Paul and Gene and I said, because I had been working with Anton Fig on my solo record, and I said, why don't we get Anton Fig to play drums? And they both agreed. So I called up Anton, I said, you're in the band. He was thrilled. He couldn't sleep all night. The next day, Paul and Gene calls me and says, you know what? I don't think Anton's a good choice.
Oh.
So I had to do the dirty work, call back Anton and tell him, sorry, Anton, you're not in the band. So for 24 hours, Anton was in KISS.
Jeez, that he must have felt gutted.
He was elated, and then he was let down.
Your participation in the recording of Music from the Elder was more limited than previous albums because you were unhappy with the band's decision to make a concept record rather than a straightforward rock record.
No, I contributed a lot to that record. In fact,
Fiction.
In fact, a lot of my solos were edited out, and I still have a lot of them, and I may release them further down the road.
Wow.
Even though I wasn't involved with the concept, I still wanted to be a part of it. We were recording it in my studio in Connecticut. And then after a while, we moved up to Canada. We were recording it up at Bob Ezrin's place, the producer. And we went up there to record some tracks, but some of the guitar work I did, I just FedExed them tapes of my solos. I'd have the basic track there, and I'd do the solos in my studio. Finally, I ended up going up there, and we finished the record, but yeah.
Wow. This is cool because we're really setting a lot of things straight.
Okay.
This is pretty good. This is awesome. You are featured on the covers of Killers and Creatures of the Night, although you did not play on either album.
Creatures of the Night, I don't think I played much on, if any.
Although you were replaced by Vinnie Vincent in 1982, you retained a 1/4 share of the KISS partnership until 1985.
That's probably correct.
Okay. What did that entail?
Everything.
Past stuff, any future stuff along with that?
I believe so. You know, I'm not the greatest businessman. I mean, I still get royalties on merchandise and other things. You know, KISS doesn't own my makeup. I license it to them.
Oh, okay.
You know, Peter sold his makeup, but the makeup I license the makeup to KISS.
Wow. Your solo song, Rock Soldiers, is an autobiographical song written partially about a car accident you had in April 1982.
Well, it wasn't a car accident, it was a car chase. I was pulled over in my DeLorean. I was with a friend of mine.
A DeLorean.
And I was driving with a suspended license, and I didn't have my registration. And my friend was in the car, and a cop pulled us over because I bumped into a guy's car that was worth about $250. And he got out and he saw my car, and he figured maybe he could get some money out of me. And I said, what are you, out of your mind? Anyway, some cop saw us arguing. He walks over, and he goes, license and registration. I said, okay, no problem. I get in the car, I pull down the gold wing door, and I told my friend, get out of the car because I'm taking off. So he got out of the car, and I just slammed it. And for 10, 15 minutes, the White Plains police were chasing me all around White Plains, and I eluded them.
You got away from them?
Yeah, I got away from them. I pulled over at a deli to make a phone call to have my friend come and pick me up. And the guy that owned the deli looked out at the car, and there was smoke rising from everywhere, and there was dents all over it. And I seemed a little crazy because I was. And he called the cops, and I'm waiting for my friend to show up. I'm in the phone booth. When I walk out, there's like 15 cops with their guns drawn. And they arrested me, handcuffed me, and took me away.
How did they get that so wrong?
It's in my book. Read it. No regrets.
Oh my God. You essentially escaped the police in a car chase in a DeLorean.
I was going like 80 miles an hour against traffic on the Bronx River Parkway, and I hit fifth gear and I was gone. The cop Chevy Nova couldn't keep up with me.
That's amazing. Although the original KISS members reunited and recorded Psycho Circus, your involvement on the album was very minimal.
On a lot of the songs I didn't perform on because Paul and Gene wouldn't let me, So pretty much Into the Void. Into the Void actually is the only song on that record where all four band members are playing on.
Okay.
That's the only one Peter Criss plays on.
Wow.
Yeah, but those guys, they wanted to do their own things, and they excluded me from a lot of the stuff. I mean, it really wasn't a good way to, go forward with the creative process, when you're trying to do a reunion tour, and the camaraderie was, was stifled. But, I didn't, I wasn't called for the session, so I didn't show up.
No. All right, last one for you.
Here we go. The last one, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Your final gig with KISS was at the closing ceremonies of the 2002 Winter Olympics.
True.
What was that like? That's unbelievable.
That was mayhem. I mean, the security was incredible. I brought my girlfriend with me, and we were on a float on an ice rink, but it was it was slippery because we had fog on the stage, and we were like trying to play a couple of songs, and we were slipping on the stage because I think it was like plexiglass or something or metal, and the fog that we had was condensing onto the floor, and I almost slipped, and I know Paul almost did, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a magical moment. Playing at the Olympics. I mean, there were 100,000 people there, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I gotta thank you for coming in. This was
a pleasure.
This was definitely one of the best ones we've ever done. That was great. Ace Frehley, pick up Space Invader, for God's sake. Thank you so much for coming again.
Okay.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee.